Whenever you're ready, Cap, we're live.
Hi, folks, and welcome to Monday Night with the Escorts and Dire Bear Adventuring Company. The Escorts are this wonderful group of individuals that I have all around me. I am your host and your DM, Heath, and we have some world-changing stuff in-game, but let's talk about the world-changing stuff out of game. I hope everybody is doing well, keeping their sanity about them. Hopefully, we can continue to bring you shows for as long as we can and keep you guys entertained. I know it's good to take our minds off of the drudgery that's going on around us all about the place. We're happy to have Steve back with us. I hope you're feeling well, buddy. Steve, your camera looks like you're moving in like slow-mo time, bullet motion.
I was wondering about that. I'm going to blame the internet.
Well, your internet connection to the new meeting program that we're using, yes, and I'll go over that in a minute, is good. So,
I mean, alternatively, it's just Mello being mellow. He's so mellow, he's moving in bullet time.
It's Mello being so mellow that he's just flowing with it. This is what he sees in his head.
I think it might just be his camera quality.
Okay. Well, speaking of, so we're good to have you back. We had some changing events last episode, and we'll recap that here in a few moments. If you are looking to play a game and to try to cap the stem the boredom around us as we're all kind of locked in. Alabama announced their shelter in place finally, only, I don't know, like a month or at least 4 weeks or 3 weeks or 2 weeks later than everybody else. But we're adhering to that. So some of us are tucked in tight at home and will be that way. With that in mind, D&D can still go on. As you can see here, we have plenty of tools and opportunity, and we have available DMs. We're happy to host the game for you. Let us know if you want that. If you're looking to play a game, we'll be happy to put that on. And it's not just D&D. Some of us are well-versed in other things like Monster of the Week, Vampire. I myself am looking to run a Call of Cthulhu 1920s for some clients of mine, as well as D&D and things like that. So plenty of experience and different things going on around, and we're here to help you out. Reach out to us. You can reach us on Discord, or you can send me a private message here on Twitch or on Twitter. We're all over the place, Facebook as well. We'll be happy to help stem the boredom and make sure that you guys can continue to play your D&D or learn it for the first time if you've never really played. We're here to help you. Happy to help show you how to play. Speaking of new tools, there's a little different look to our screen, simply because of the fact that, well, we are actually using a new tool. We're not using Zoom. We're testing out a new thing, so it gives us a little higher quality connection. Some of the cameras are a little higher definition and all that fun jazz. So we're testing it out, and we'll get your feedback. We appreciate it. We did do a game giveaway last week. That will not be the last time we do it. As a matter of fact, I am probably going to run another one here pretty soon. I thought it worked out pretty well. We had Monster of the Week announced what game we were giving away, which was no small game. It was a AAA title, and so it was a lot of fun. And we had a winner. I don't seclude the players from being able to win, so our own player Molly won, and I guarantee you it wasn't rigged. We used a Nightbot to randomly generate, so we weren't favoriting anyone. But we will do more game giveaways as I have a just plethora of games to give away and things to do. I am actually going to be talking to a couple of people to see if I can't actually get some content on D&D Beyond to try to give away, or at least some cool stuff to get. Our host this evening, as one of our as every evening that we run D&D, is D&D Beyond, and that is no different this evening. Do me a favor if you could. We still have the old title up, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I'm on it. I kind of realized that as soon as you started talking.
It's like, no problem. Hi to those who are regular viewers. I know that Bubba is actually one of my clients as well. He is looking to run that Call of Cthulhu. I actually have been in contact with all the sponsors there and see if we can't do that. Anyway, so we are here. We will be continuing to run games, helping people maintain their sanity as best they can, or we can, as it were. Give me just 1 second here. Close that one. Come to this one. Perfect. So let's recap what happened last week and dive into the game. The push to open the keystones that were entrusted to Gantham, who seemed to have the best intent until we found out otherwise. Waking early to Hannah's worried cries that he's locked himself in his lab and is trying to work on something. We are looking at the keystone as you guys finally bust in and people are trying to find information. You get in there just in time to have the world go white. Not able to stop him, even though you tried to pull him away. He seemed to be protected by something otherwise. As the world went white and returned, his body was there and it was cold and then went fiery hot. And then he ascended, or at least he says he ascended. Satiel reached out to the strands of the weave to determine what was going on and saw the loom and the weaver. And saw another figure walk up and place a hand on the weaver, who then slumped forward against the loom. You knew it as well as the Maudlin folk around you. They knew it as well, that something had happened to the weave. Not that it had been destroyed, but that no more strands were being produced. The chaos that creates the magic around you, woven into tight tapestries, had been disrupted. Some way to stop him must be found, but unfortunately, that's going to take some time. As is the case, you have another pressing matter that you've decided to take on, while the rest of the folks there at the keep are researching this information. Satiel tells you all that his father reports a loss of knowledge, meaning that books are blank and people are beginning to forget things that they are well versed in. And we're not sure what happens, but a nightmarish figure in Illithid visited him in his dream. So now, he's asked you all for your help to take up the mantle, and he said that he himself is returning to Jopus Landing. I believe that, if I'm not mistaken, the party agreed to this being the new thing that they're doing. So the escorts, who are finished escorting Hannah, now find them escorting one of their own back to Jopus Landing. As we wake in the morning, you guys are making preparations. Ezra, your mother, looks concerned, and she asks you how you plan to get back to Jopus Landing.
I know we talked briefly about that. Were we talking about taking the ship back? I feel like there was two choices: taking the ship back and then traveling by foot or something along the lines of that.
Well, I believe the ship was to take us back to where we had stabled the horses, get ourselves a cart, and take the horses across the land.
Back down to Ferryton, or back across the channel to Ferryton, and then take those down to Jopus Landing through the moors again.
Although, if we have another suggestion that might be faster, we're all ears.
Well, depending on what Mom's traveling with, maybe she could fix the horses onto the ship without an issue, but that would depend on the group as well.
Like I said, whatever's faster. If traveling by sea is faster, then I don't see why we wouldn't just grab what we had stabled and then head out.
Yeah. That would at least work for me, and I'm sure it would be fine with Mom, but...
Satiel, do you happen to know of any other way that they can travel quickly to one location?
Find a new teleport, maybe, but he does not.
But he knows of it.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, he's researching.
All right. So how do you guys want to go?
There was one thing that you mentioned last week that we could do first before we left.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at the in the area of magical weapons and weapons of lore in their library for any mention of Meliandra.
That is correct. I did tell you could do that. There is no mention of. No, I take that back. There is actually not a footnote necessarily, but kind of a brief paragraph concerning not Meliandra specifically, but sort of a blade or a broken blade that has the same name, the sword of Meliandra. There's a rough drawing in there. The handle, the hilt of it is not straight. It actually comes down and then curves back out just a little bit. It's well balanced, and you can see that there are wings swept that make up the crossguard, the wings sweeping upward with the blade trailing out behind it. They show a lot of working in the blade, like etching along inside of the blade, not the edges of it. The blade itself looks like a regular blade, with the exception of the etchings that are found within it.
Mm-hmm.
It's very nicely and ornately done, but it only shows it talks about how the blade was rendered asunder and the pieces were scattered.
Mm. Okay.
Like I said, it's paragraph or two.
Yeah. Okay. He'll also mention to the group, maybe the Maudlin might know the spell of teleport and could get us back across the channel. I could ask.
I mean, I understand the essence of time, but why spend the money when we have somebody who's willing to take us across?
Maybe they'd be willing to do it as a favor.
After everything else we've asked them for? Generosity can only go so far. You never ask for something like that for nothing.
Time is of the essence, though, yes?
Oh, Mello, I see you're feeling better.
I'm alive. I'm awake. Awake is good. But time is of the essence, yes?
We're not sure exactly. We believe so. But that's not to say that us getting there tomorrow versus us getting there in 2 weeks would make a copper's difference, as it were.
In the end, I can talk to Mom to see how long the trip is going to take. A quick stop. Maybe the night. The last time it didn't take us very long to get here.
I think that's a good place to start. Gather our options, we can decide from there.
Is the luck blade on the table? To use teleport?
That's... The wishes contained within the blade are finite. They don't recharge, and I've already used one.
And we can't.
Which is why I asked
all of us together.
whether
in
or
one
not
wish.
time is of the essence.
Here's the thing. The material components necessary for a teleportation circle only cost 50 gold.
Which we
Does
could
it not
easily
require
pay.
a teleportation circle on the other side?
There should be one at home, if necessary. We'd be
Fair
foregoing the
enough.
horses in that case, but... Well, there actually might be one over there, too.
Do we really trust it after what we encountered in that town? We could wind up in a den full of thieves and those wishing to kill us. It's dangerous when we don't know where the portal's gonna land us.
Fine, let's talk with Ezra's mom first and figure out our options then.
Okay. So, going to speak to Momzor.
Mom.
Mom, can my friends and I get a lift to the mall? We want to go to the dance club. We want to go to the arcade.
Oh, I
Roller
wouldn't ask
derby.
Mom that. I'd ask Dalt that.
Dalt would be like, the mall to the dance club? What are you, kids? Oh, yeah, that's right.
Dalt, like, I'm
Dalt-
coming in too, though.
Dalt looks like the kind of uncle that would help buy your first beer.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely.
Dalt's the kind of uncle that's like, shh, don't tell your parents. Here's 20. Like, every time he sees you, here's 20. Don't tell your parents.
Bill's the type of uncle that'll be like, "Hey, can I go to a party? Are you gonna drink? No. Are you gonna do drugs? No. Are you gonna get laid? No. Then why the fuck are you even going?"
Yep, that's Dalt. Dalt's the kind of uncle that's like, how old are you now? 16? Time to get you laid. And buys your first whore. When I was your age, I was 17. Is that what you just said?
All right.
I don't know why that's what I heard, but yeah, sure. Oh my god. Dalt's the kind of uncle that's just like, he would rolls up his sleeves and like fights the first dude that he can find, all in your honor. It's like he takes you to the bar. How old is he? How old is Ezra? Doesn't matter. He's getting a drink. Oh, okay, Dalt. Dalt's the kind of uncle that you look at him and go, I think he has ties to the mafia, but I'm not sure.
Can't really tell. But he has
doesn't
been
talk
living in
about
our
his
side
past.
room and been telling everyone not to say that he's here, so we don't know.
He has tattoos that are mysterious and a past that he doesn't talk about. All right.
For all you know, I've only lived for 20 years. My younger years, non-existent.
Those don't exist. That was a different lifetime.
And at this point, we've just stopped asking.
Right?
It would be rude.
He's real good with the knife, though, so he cooks real good.
He's yeah. It's strange guys come around and hand him like bundles of cash. They call him by a different name. Nobody says anything. They just let it go. All right. So you talk to Mom about how long the trip is going to be. You talk about stopping in Fairyton to pick up horses first, of course,
Yes.
because nobody's going to leave Buttercup behind.
Mm-hmm. So
All
I was
right.
like, I will just go back by myself and meet you in Jopus Landing if that's the case. I will see you there.
All right. Mom tells you that the trip around, if you take a stop in Fairyton for supplies to restock, and the trip around would probably take you about, with good winds, probably about 2.5 weeks. By land, it would probably take you closer to 3, I think, 3 or 4,
Well, it does,
even with a horse riding it. So
it does shave a week. Shave. Yeah.
Yes, but is this also taking into account the magical horseshoes that they're wearing? Those two
Oh,
horses.
remember-
Only one are wearing.
No, there
Both
was
of
two.
them.
Both of them were
Oh,
wearing it.
okay, 2.
And we'd get a cart to transport everybody. But I think Kep's including that it would be 3 weeks with those horseshoes. Because it took us, what, almost a month and a half to get across
yeah,
the
something
moors?
like that. I mean, to get to Fairyton took you the better part of a month and a half. Yeah.
Hmm.
And that was with everybody on horses, even, non-magic horseshoes ones.
Yeah.
Granted, there were some issues along the way.
We don't talk about those
Mhm.
issues.
Well, it's not like there's no chance of having issues along the way now.
True. But I think you get the better idea that taking the ship around the coast might do you better. All right. So, by ship then,
Mom, we're going on a road trip.
All right.
There's not a road.
Going on a sea ship trip.
Sorry, that reminded me of a meme that made me laugh. As a dude selling a car, and he looks at the guy. The salesman goes, "Cargo space? No, car no do that. Cargo road." I don't know why that makes me laugh, but it does. All right, so you set off for the you set off across the channel to Ferryton, where you make a quick stop to reload supplies. Some of your mom, and as well as some of the others, make a deal to carry a shipment, so that way they can make some extra money down toward Jopus Landing, which is loaded onto the cargo, but does have room for your horses with the magical horseshoes.
Yes.
Buttercup is happy to see you and asks about the cart. Who's going to pull such a large cart?
Wait, Buttercup asks a question?
I mean, don't you still have... Oh, that's right. You don't have the speak with animal, though.
Yeah, no, I don't have
Sorry.
that.
Never mind then.
Wait a minute, I can talk to Buttercup?
You can talk to Buttercup only. Not even Sarah gets excited about this.
Excitement everywhere.
All right.
Where's Zora? Or she's down talking to the horse again.
And that's how we lost. And that's how I lost another character without any blood loss.
She's gone, man. She's just gone.
All right. So hopping on to the boat, loading up all of the supplies, equipment, and your horses. You set off, and the wind is working in your favor for the first few days. You are moving. It's not the biggest ship. It's very much built for small cargo loads, but built for speed. And you zip through the waters, cutting through it like a warm knife through butter, just leaving a small wake in your trail as you go. The first 2 days, you see yourself coming around, and the coastline, which is already tall, seems to climb even further. As the craggy cliffs along the coast set up, you can see the stone and the weathered stone on your right-hand side as you continue to go on. That would be your starboard side. As you continue the trip, you see an old keep sitting up on top of a very... Port and left have the same number of letters. That's how you know. Starboard is your right side. Mm-hmm. Anyways, as you continue along the cliff edge, you see a keep, a very large but old structure. There doesn't seem to be any... There's a large gate set at the base of the cliff, the water brushing up against it. It's weathered, and it's very old, but you can tell there are etchings or some sort of bas relief carved into the doors. As this, even at the distance that you are from it, because it's not like you're just reaching out the wind or reaching out the side of the boat, touch it. But even at the distance you are, you can see that they are so large that you can actually make out the etchings of two dwarves that are holding up lanterns, like facing each other. The next few days find you moving, and the wind turns a little bit, so you're slow. The water here, is cold and unforgiving in this part of the world. Ezra, this is the closest to home that you've been in a long time. I know that you call the boat home, but the woods and the forest where you spent a lot of your youth and learning things.
Ezra wouldn't see the top side of the ship very, very much whenever we go by those forests. He'd probably stay in the kitchen helping Dalt or helping Serafina or Brugger down underneath the ship.
Okay. The rest of you, as you pass by, you see an old forest that has kind of a blue hue to it. Large conifers dot the landscape, dense enough to make it to where it darkens the interior of the forest but you can still make out that this part of the forest is very old. It's very craggy, and there's lots of rock and things like that along the coastline. It actually slips back down into an actual rocky beach. You can see there's no sand. It's made up of small pebbles and rocks and things like that. The ship continues on its way far enough out to sea that you can barely make out these details. But it continues on, taking a turn to the starboard. As you continue on, the first week warrants you nothing but smooth sailing. Even though your speed has been diminished somewhat, it's not enough to where it really slows the ship considerably. No dangers confront you, and other than dealing with your own boredom while on board ship, there's not much else that's going on. Eventually, you slip past the dense coniferous forest and down into what appears to be more along the lines of what you saw near the Ackerman Moors. You see some forests that are there, not as dense anymore, and with more green than blue-hued trees. You continue to slip through. You can see the remains off in the distance of another like keep or castle. Most of it tumbled down, but it's far enough out that you can barely make out what it is as you realize you're moving further away from the coastline as you cruise. The second week also is smooth sailing, warranting you no ill will. It seems like for once the world is kind of in your favor. Despite everything that you've gone through, you're thankful for that. The only thing you see are occasionally passing ships, but you give each other a wide berth, allowing miles to slip between you. As you're sailing along, Ezra, your mom tends to you a bit more. She starts to show you a bit more of the ship and things like that. Not that you need any lessons, but she's more like going over the rudimentary duties of what a captain would do, as opposed to a cook or a bowsman or anything else like that.
Okay.
Eventually, you see the large walls and the gates that close up to keep Jopus Landing safe in its lagoon. She wheels the ship out further to sea before bringing it back around, and eventually you find yourselves passing through the large gate. You can see the ballista and the other ship-damaging weaponry that sits upon the gate and the walls itself. As you pass through, you can see that the town seems to be intact the way you left it, the way you first arrived. And 2.5 weeks of travel find you in Jopus Landing. Now, in that 2.5 weeks, is there something that any of you would like to do? Study, go over anything, learn something, meditate, speak to a higher divine power?
I probably would just want to learn about the mechanisms of the like the sails and stuff like that of the ship.
Okay. Give me a survival check, please.
Yikes. Okay, 13.
13? Okay. Yeah, you actually do so. You learn enough along with what you have and comparing your knowledge with their knowledge. You already have proficiency with sea vehicles or ocean-faring vehicles? No? You do now. So go ahead and add that as one of your proficiencies that you gained.
Yay.
I'm sure Mello would try his best to be as useful as possible to Aelinor.
Okay. Which turns out well for you. Is there anything in particular that you would like to, other than just being useful, is there anything else you'd like to do?
Not really specifically.
Okay. Give me a performance check.
Ship. Yeah, that's about right. 9.
See, in another language, that means no.
About midway through, Eleanor watches you pitifully pluck at your instrument and just shakes their head, walks over to you, yanks it from your hands, and just wings it into the ocean.
Mom!
She just looks at you and she says,
If Zora's nearby, she's gonna try and cast Mage Hand to catch it.
sure. But she walks into her cabin and walks back out. I'm going to assume that was your loot that she flung out into the water.
Mm-hmm.
She hands you another stringed instrument. The neck is a bit longer, and it's not curved back the way a lute is. It's actually flat. You can see that there are 6 strings attached to it, varying weights of the strings. It has a fuller body than a lute. And she says, try this.
Oh no.
I think that it might just be the problem is that wasn't the instrument for you. I would like for you to give me another performance check, please.
As you wish.
Oh no, she just handed him a guitar.
15.
And you do pretty well with it. She pushes it into your hands and says, take the next few weeks and practice this instrument. And as you do so, you become proficient in performance.
All right.
With the Cittern. Which is basically an early guitar.
Right.
My favorite. All right. Zora. I'll say you're able to, you're not quite able to catch the lute. It's just right at the tip of your fingers. But as you pull back and listen to him perform with the new instrument, you're like, okay, maybe this is for the best.
Just lets it drop. Okay, never mind.
You're like, catch it. All right. Zora, anything in particular that you would like to do?
She'll probably just make sure to, she'll take lead on tending the horses and everything like that.
Okay.
If she's allowed to, she will ask first before trying, because she has a feeling that they're very protective of the kitchen, but she will offer to help with anything that needs, kitchen duties, that kind of thing.
Sure. Are you proficient in anything along those lines already?
Let's find out.
Also, are you proficient in animal handling?
Not proficient in animal handling. What would you consider for cooking?
Do you have any? I think it's kitchen, or it's not. Is it cook supplies or cook tool? There's an actual toolkit in there for this, and I can't think of what it is right now.
Probably something like culinary.
Eric, Eric, what do you got?
What, cook's tools?
Yeah, is it literally called cook's tools?
Or cooking
implements?
Yeah,
cooking supplies.
Something like that.
Let me go to the equipment list. What I'd like for you to do, even though you're not proficient, give me a check, please.
Okay. Goes about as well as expected on a boat. That would be a 6.
Okay, yeah, it does not go well for you. Did you lose my camera?
You're frozen.
Yeah, it looks frozen.
Okay. Yeah, all of a sudden my Chrome just decided, oh, now's a good time to crash.
Chrome's like, were you using that?
Not
all I'm seeing
anymore!
tools-wise is maybe a herbalism kit, but
yeah,
it doesn't look like there's any cooking.
No, there should
tools.
be.
I'm looking in the equipment and the adventuring gear for D&D Beyond. It's got nothing.
Yeah.
Cook's utensils?
Cooks
That's the
utensils.
one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where is that?
They just called it utensils instead of kit.
Oh, that's why I'm lost.
All right, I'm back. You can boot my other one if it's still there.
Kick him.
Boot to the head.
Finish him.
Yeah, but now I'm gonna have to rearrange everybody again.
I'm sorry for your troubles. Blame Chrome.
I will not. I can't even kick him.
Eric,
Well,
the
luckily,
Siri
you
of
don't have to
D&D
capture him.
from your local JT.
Actually,
I mean-
it says you're the speaker. Can you kick him?
No, I'm the one with the moderator powers.
Okay, got it. Oh, there we go.
It disconnected.
I'm Tangaroa now.
I'm the mellow. Molly's the DM. Go for it.
You got the small.
Everybody make Constitution saving throws at disadvantage right now.
For no other reason than I want you to.
Yes.
So that's a
If
natural
she said-
1.
C19.
You sank my battleship.
Constitution saving throw at disadvantage. I'm just curious. What's my con
Yeah.
save? Dang it, 18.
Let's say, so with that nat 1, I got a 5.
I got a
Nice.
10.
You all died.
Hmm,
I
I
got a
should have
3.
expected that, but it came out so quick.
Alrighty then, time to break out the Goliath Blood Hunter.
I have another sailor to bring in.
The
Another
Goliath
sailor.
Blood Hunter, School of the Mutagen.
Interesting.
God, I love School of the Mutagen so much.
All right. Dalt takes you under his wing and shows you his techniques. Kicking anybody else out of the kitchen anytime that he's working with you with merely a stern glance or a simple word of "not now, she's busy." At the end of your travels, you are now proficient in those tools.
Alrighty.
All right. Let's see. That's Mello. That's Zora. That's Tangaroa. Zastari.
Zastari is currently working on that thing that I asked you about, so she's been working on that.
Yes.
She starts practicing and testing this thing really fucking early in the morning when nobody else is around.
Like up to the
Except
crow's
for-
nest?
Yeah, except for whoever might be up piloting the ship at the time.
Up to the crow's nest?
Yeah, that's where she aims anyway. Whether it actually reaches there all the time or not, that's where she's aiming for.
All right. What do I want to have you roll for this? Part of me's like performance, but acrobatics.
It's fine. She's circus trained.
She's
Yeah,
got
but I
this.
can still roll a 1.
She's circus trained.
$26.
Okay. Beats my target number, and
Hang
therefore
Hang on. I got disconnected
Oh
from the
no!
meeting.
Oh no!
Oh yeah, we're all gray blocks.
Everybody got Okay, hang on.
Ah!
Oh, I'm Satael now.
I'm in here twice.
I don't know how. I don't think I could do Satael justice. Oh,
I'm in here twice, and I can't get rid of my own thing because.
You'll actually, it should
It'll
disco
drop.
you in a moment.
Okay. And
The
I-
good thing is you came back as you still moderator.
Mm.
I was the first one back in the room. So I gotta wait for that to drop, and then hopefully it'll just rearrange everybody the way they're supposed to be. Except it's already
So-
not, because everybody on the left shifted up 1. Again.
Well, when it drops down, it might. I don't know.
So this is what we're dealing with, folks. New stuff is always fun to play with.
Okay, there we go. Oh! Steve is now the moderator.
So close. Wait.
Is
Steve
Steve
is
the
the
moderator?
champion.
Steve's now the moderator.
Can
he is the
Steve
chosen champion.
pass the moderator to you?
He is the captain now.
Mute,
But will he?
kick, send PM.
That's gonna be a no. Ah.
Settings. Nope.
Everybody leave. and
Here's
come
what
back.
Here's what I'm going to do to solve it.
Leave.
No,
Steve's
don't
gonna leave.
Please. Oh.
Too late. Who's moderator now?
We're a mess, everybody. Don't mind us.
It's just Monday. Like we said in the first year of our gaming, if we didn't have technical difficulties, it wouldn't be a Dire Bear episode.
True.
It's just musical characters.
Who am I now? I'm curious.
I cast
Back
fire.
No, I got
so
you
I'm
back
not-
on.
Okay.
I'm myself? Okay.
Mhm.
You're yourself again. That was a look. What was that face, Eric?
I have no idea. Don't mind me. I'm a pile of crazy. You know this.
Yes. Thank you for everyone who's joining. We're working at a minor issue with our streaming. So bear with us one moment as we suffer
Just
through this.
let it go. Let it go. It's fine.
Wait, who's moderator now?
You.
You.
Oh!
The new champion has been chosen.
I'm
I'll just
getting
disconnect
sick of-
and-
No, don't!
Jeez.
Do not disconnect, please!
I'm not.
Oh my god. I'm getting tired of having to
Really?
rearrange everybody's cameras.
There's really no way in this. I haven't been moderator since the other day, and I don't remember how to do it. So
As
Okay.
Molly goes red over there.
I
Uh-oh.
don't. I
Yeah.
don't
she's
think,
still moving.
I don't think there was a command to do so, Cap.
Okay.
You might want to talk to whoever it is and get them in.
Oh yeah, yeah. We've already talked about it, and they're already talking about implementing changes. So what we're using is called meet.sangoma.com. For those of you who would like to do teleconferencing, it's free. It has up to we had 18 people, or almost 20 people, in a conference call the other day, even though they say probably around 15, so it's perfect for doing D&D. It's free. It does not have any time limitations, unlike some other tools. So we're going to be trying it out to see if we can't save ourselves a dollar or two. So anyways, I would love to say that this is pre-stream shenanigans. This is mid-stream shenanigans. So there we go. All right, so you rolled a 26, and okay, as you fire after testing it for several days, you actually end up getting it to connect the way that you want to. Meaning that all of the flange pieces pop out and it's secured to the crow's nest, and it had enough power to get all the way to the top of that mast and actually connect. So you know that you've dealt with the issue of making it go as far as you need it to, or at least a pretty good distance. So the next thing you test is
the pull.
the pull on it. You're expecting the motor to kind of wind out, but it actually moves pretty smoothly. As soon as you get to the top, there's both a thrill and then the realization that had that given out on you at any given time, you would have come crashing back to the ship, like falling off of the line without a net. And that thrill starts again. A little bit of that adrenaline push going, oh god. But you have it working and you can show it off now.
Excellent.
So, however you want to write that up in your sheet, you can. But you basically have a bat grappling hook now.
I do.
It's a starry grappling hook. She's over here playing Assassin's Creed. Everybody else is playing D&D.
The saddest part is it
Fair.
actually really does work as if she is just playing Assassin's Creed. It's kind of silly.
Mhm. All right. So while you're working with the finest in motorized grappling apparatus, so that covers everybody except for Satael and Ezra, if I'm not mistaken. Satael, what are you doing in the 2.5 weeks that you're on the water? Hold on, real quick. While you're thinking that over, I was really surprised that Zastari didn't take a chance to learn how to swim.
I mean, the water's really cold, though.
And the ship
That's
is
fair.
moving.
That's fair.
Tie a
Just
rope to
toss
her,
it.
throw it over.
Woman overboard. Use your grappling hook to climb back up the side.
It's
Get her
okay,
water
I can
teeth.
I can still see her from here. I'm pretty sure I could like throw this buoy and she'll be fine. Okay, she's getting out of view now. Okay, I'm gonna throw it.
It falls like it's only 50 feet. It just falls in the water.
Should have put
Alright.
a longer rope on that.
Should have put a rope on that.
I feel like you should have. All right, Satail, what are you doing in this 2.5 weeks other than watching your DM lose his mind?
Y'all are crazy. He's kind of just been ruminating on what he saw in the weave a bit,
Mm-hmm.
and he's going to see if he can maybe pull a little bit more of that, of the weave of fate, basically, of the tapestry. See if he can
Mhm.
pull a little bit more directly from it to use spell, potentially maybe come up with some spells that deal with the altering of fate, as opposed to just
So more like divination spells.
sort of. 'Cause I know I asked you this like out of character a bit ago, but about dunamancy.
Mm-hmm.
As it turns out, D&D Beyond itself doesn't add the spells to your list unless you pick one of those subclasses.
Yes, you have to pick that subclass to get those added to it.
Yeah, so I was gonna ask if it was okay with you if I could basically make homebrew spells, basically just copy paste
That's fine.
for Satiel to learn.
Give me an Arcana check.
I was gonna say, not so much like to learn something now, but let's just see if it could be done,
Mm-hmm.
and just sort of give him a focus of study.
Sure, give me an Arcana check.
Yeah, okay. 27.
Okay, that's good. You don't want to know what happened if you would have rolled low.
Yeah. See, the
New
thing
character.
is, I was sitting there going, because my dice was like on an 8, and then it went 16. I was like, screw you.
The pucker factor reached a 10 for a moment.
Yeah, basically, no, not 10. It went to like 12 easy.
Which is impressive on a scale of 1 to 10. So you
There may be a diamond, I don't know.
Guys, we got res materials.
you fetch about in the weave, knowing that there's a finite chance, or there's now, for now, as far as you are aware, magic has a finiteness to it, since there are no new strands being woven. However, your attunement to it has allowed you to see things in a different way. There is new patterns that sort of evolve themselves to you, and you get the idea that magic can be woven in a new way, with the strands being at an end, meaning that you can take the tattered ends of it to weave it differently. The problem is that the idea is there, the concept is there, so the theoretics behind it are in your head, but it's going to take you a lot longer and some more information to try to turn that into actuality.
Yeah. I mean, it's like there's no library, no nothing. So I figured, let's see, is there a possibility that it could be done to sort of give him something to focus his mind on? It's like a new avenue of wizardly research, kind of a thing.
Sure. And yeah, that's actually, you, like I said, you understand the theoretical concepts behind weaving this in. It's just like understanding what a quantum computer does and kind of the basics of how it works, but actually putting one together and building something that will actually function is a lot different. So that's kind of where you're at. It's cold fusion, everybody. Anyway, so you study that. The other thing that you do while you were there, and I'm going to thrust this one upon you, is you still make contract with your divine guide.
Yeah, that was going to be the other thing. I was going to ask,
Okay.
but I didn't want to just take up a lot of time.
No. A few conversations, and is there anything in particular you want to ask her about?
Well, first he wants to ask. I was like, well, so I went looking for a little bit more information about you, out of just my own curiosity. I found something that said it might not be you, but there's something called the Blade of Melandra that was shattered.
What questions do you have for me?
Was that you?
A different lifetime ago. It was. I brandished it upon a winged horse, and I felled enemies. I was fierce, and I was laid low, and the blade broken, and forgotten about. I'm different now. Sloughing off the tatters of the person that I was, or the creature that I was. Leaving behind the battlefield. I've transcended that. What other questions do you have for me?
Well, we ran into the ascension of what I think is a god.
Yes. Everything here is out of sorts. There are those who are running and trying to hide. I don't know what will become if I go quiet. It's because I'm hiding. Or worse. I'll return to you in the coming days with more information that might help. Be safe, and I will try to hide away as best I can.
Okay. Hopefully one of these days I'll be able to see you soon.
Maybe. The preferred means yet to be chosen. I hope it's not due to your own demise.
True. Till then, I'll just do the best I can following whatever path that me and my friends happen to take.
Be safe.
I'll do my best.
And with that, she falls quiet for a few days. Other than minor communications, just checking in on you to see how you're doing.
Yeah.
All right. Ezra.
Ezra spends most of the time with as much of the crew as he possibly can. Between like Dalt, Sarah, Brugger, his mom, Newlin. He definitely takes like a day to introduce the whole party to Bite. He's just like dragging this big eel hound around.
Just like,
look it! That's my boy!
Can I talk to it?
I mean, it's a creature of the sea. You absolutely can.
I say, who's a good boy?
He looks confused for a second, and you hear, "Is it me?
It's you!
I'm a good boy!" You got snack?
I got snack. What do you want?
Snack!
I got snack. I'll pull something out of my rations and like toss it to him.
He jumps on it, devours it. Like he does that thing where he haunches down for a second, and then just leaps forward and like rolls across the thing because he has 4 legs, but he's still an eel. So it's like watching a danger noodle legged thingy just as he like flops around.
He's a good boy.
V and I had a joke that maybe he would just sound really English and sophisticated.
We were just laughing about that. Acts like a damn fool, talks like he's a librarian and all that.
Oh, in that case, is it me? Am I the good boy? Do you have a snack? I'm rather peckish.
Okay, grief, what have you done?
Oh my god.
Bites, perfect.
He looks at you though with his tongue out and his head to the side as he says this.
Oh, what a good boy.
I have this desperate need to ask, why are you like this? And then I realized...
Fight whenever I was young because that's all he did. And he'll like point out scars on his arms and hands. Just small little puncture marks from his teeth.
Are you still keeping in communication with him? Are you still talking to him?
Yeah, I'm probably still talking to him.
Yeah, about those. I am apoplectic. I am so terribly sorry
with the
about all
British
those.
stick. I love this.
Oh yeah, we're sticking with it now because I love it. Because nobody else understands it. He's just this big idiot. The only person that hears the accent is you.
He says he's sorry.
I mean, I don't mind it. I still love him.
To my credit, I didn't kill him. And he needs to keep his hands away from the mouths of strange creatures that he doesn't know. That's just smart.
That's good. That's good. That's good advice.
Sound advice. Right. Well, I'm going to randomly go over here and do something that doesn't involve all you. And then Bite, you watch his Bite just kind of like stands up, looks off in the distance, and saunters off into some other part. Like his all 4 feet just like sliding and clacking against the deck of the ship as he makes his way. Just, I love the fact.
Conversationalist.
I just want to know is if the rest of us just hear random fish noises. Is that all we heard?
Like whales barking, kind of.
Is that like all we heard that entire
That's
time?
all you hear the whole time.
Thanks, a good boy.
Nope.
He steals Dalt's knives. He loves to run around the ship.
Yeah,
I'm
and
sure when has he found out that there's a chicken on the ship yet? Because that's going to be a problem.
Molly.
Yeah.
Huge.
I was about to say, yeah, in the 2 weeks we were on that ship, did he find the chicken?
No, but he's been hunting for it.
Okay.
I smell it.
Just hear him like scratching outside of the door every morning, like, I know it's in there.
Hand it over. The
It
one
would-
time the chicken gets out is when it's just the chicken running around the ship and
If
Bite
it would-
behind it.
If it would please your honor, I would so much love the feathered thing that you have in your hands.
It's like
It
the
looks
cat thing where you just got
delicious.
like the one paw under the door.
Mhm.
Whoever holds up the chicken Bite is like trying so hard to scale them really.
Because he's so tall too. Because he's not small. He's a big thing.
What happened?
He
We just
stands
put
up
the
on his
chicken in the
hind
crow
feet.
nest.
He's on his hind legs, just like rare, and he's like 8 feet tall. He's like a Great Dane, just puts his paws on you.
Give me the bird. Yeah, that's Ezra and Bite at all times. He loves that eelhound.
I just love the fact that you're dragging him around like a toddler with a cat.
Yeah,
Just
like under the, guys, look.
Yeah. Guys, look, and he's just like.
Oh, this is quite embarrassing.
My boy Bite.
I don't like this at all.
I do say, I'm about to bite you in a second.
Please put me down and hand me large child.
Large child. Ezra was the type of kid that even though he constantly got bit, whenever Bite had something in his mouth that he wasn't supposed to have, but Ezra was the first one to go for it. What do you have? give it, and that's why he has so many scars on his hands from bites teeth.
Drop it. Drop it.
Drop it.
Put it down. All right. Anything else? So other than introducing Bite, is there anything else you would like to do or focus on?
He would just spend time with Eleanor and Dult, and probably do a little bit of training with Serafina, just because she's usually the one that he would train with whenever he was on the ship. A little bit of wrestling.
Okay. Give me just a straight wisdom check.
Straight wisdom check.
Straight wisdom check.
Actually, I don't trust that dice. I shouldn't have trusted that dice. 7.
Okay. Serafina is showing you a different move, and as well as you try to garner the information, you're just not. So she takes the time to break it down step by step, each individual, like, cross over here, roll the arm underneath them, and then when you cross over, you pull, and that snaps them around so that you can wrap up their upper torso. Try it again, she says. Now, I'd like for you to give me an athletics check.
Okay. Well, that's much better. 23.
All right. You learn it so well that on your first attempt to grapple someone, you have advantage on them.
Ooh.
On your first attempt to grapple a target, you have advantage on that.
Okay.
All right. I think that covers everybody. Anything else?
I forgot. I wanted to talk to Eleanor briefly.
Okay.
I would approach her kind of looking a little, like, nervous.
Sheepishly?
Yeah. I would say, hey, I just wanted to let you know that Ezra and we went on a very nice date a bit ago. And it went incredibly well. And I think it went so well that I want to ask for your blessing if I can bring this a little forward and, take this to the next level with him.
She leans to one side, adjusting her weight, and you can see that as she does so, she puts her hand on her cutlass. She pushes a strand of hair back behind her head, and she says, "That's my boy. That's my baby. That's my child."
Yes, ma'am.
Understand, and she starts to trace a finger down the railing, lifting it from her cutlass. And then staring at you, she grabs the helm of the ship and kind of gives it just a little turn, even though it doesn't really need to be adjusted or anything. She looks at you and says, "Anything, and I do mean anything, happens to him under your watch, I will return you to your people. Trussed up like a ham."
Yes, ma'am.
With one of your fins removed, and I won't say which one.
Okay.
Other than that, yes, you have my blessing.
Oh. Great. Thank you.
Oh, no. You see, you don't understand. It's not me that you should be concerned with. You've met Dalt, haven't you? And with that, she just pats you on the shoulder and walks off.
Okay, I'm just gonna stick my dick between my legs and walk away.
Okay. A few hours later, Dalt, lithe and just moving like a supple wave, walks over to you. He has in his hand a glass, or I should say a cup, a metal cup, and he's swirling it around. And he walks over to you and he takes a slow sip and he looks at you and he goes, "You plan to do untoward things to my nephew?"
No, sir.
"Why the hell not? He's handsome." And he takes another sip off of that.
I'm just what I would love to, but on his
Stop,
own
you're
terms when
fine.
he's ready.
Relax. We're not going to gut you.
Uh,
We only
she-
eat fish, not fish people. And then he takes another drink.
I don't mean to assume, but she sounded very threatening when she was talking to me.
Oh, yeah, no, she's a pussycat. She's not the one you should worry about. And with that, he like takes a drink from the cup, but he's clearly like giving you eyes over the edge of the cup. And he goes, "She said she would truss you up like a ham and send you back to your family with a fin missing or some such."
Yeah, that was remarkably correct.
He leans in close and like puts an arm kind of around your neck. "They won't find you." And then just pats you on the cheek and walks off. Ezra, you are in the kitchen along with Zora. You guys are helping make preparations. Dalt walks in with this just shit-eating grin on his face. Your mom walks in a bit further, and they look at each other and just bust out laughing, and then look at you and say, "We like him."
Zora just chopping potatoes like.
Yes, we're just like, thank you? What have you done?
We just had an idle. Your mom says we just had an idle conversation with him. Everything's fine. Dalt goes, "Mm-hmm," and he takes a drink and then sets the cup down and goes, "Just a talk."
A talk or a talk?
He just waggles his eyebrows up and down at you.
Lord.
So, dinner. And Eleanor says, "I'll leave you to it." And they leave, but the whole time Dalt is just grinning, his face ear to ear, just big grin on his face.
I bet like Tonga like walks in and is about to like walk into both of them and like visibly flinches back.
You watch as as Eleanor passes you, she just pats you on the shoulder and she says, "Relax." And then Dalt looks at you and like takes the knife that he has, and it's a paring knife, and he just spins it between his fingers, throws it in the air, catches it, and then flings it down into the cutting board, where it just and then he goes and goes back to cutting up whatever he was doing.
They didn't say we were having sushi, are they?
I've been cutting potatoes for the past hour. I'm assuming it has potatoes in it.
Dalt looks at you and goes, "You've been cutting potatoes for the last hour."
That's what you left me. You said peel this and start cutting them.
Okay, that's enough potatoes.
You did not indicate a stopping point.
We should find a barrel. We can make some vodka. All right, let's get dinner prepared. And with that, you guys sail into Jopus Landing and are able to take a break from the sea for once.
I love how we're all just a pile of chaos wrapped in an enigma.
Yes.
Seems about right.
Jopus Landing seems to be the same as it was when you left it. Most of the people there are still working. As you are familiar with this city, though, I would love for Satiel to make a perception check, please.
14.
Okay.
Unless you want to give me some advantage somewhere. But
Oh yeah, you know what? It's your town. I'll give you advantage on.
Oh, okay. I was joking, but sure. 14.
You're doing great, kiddo.
The gods
know,
just don't want you to see whatever it is that Cap wants you to see, so...
I guess not, because like I rolled
What's
a
your
9.
passive? Just
My passive?
yeah,
34. 15.
Okay. As you're moving through the streets, making your way back, I assume, back up to the monastery and the library. Is that correct?
That's where he's heading.
Okay. Satael, as you are moving in the streets,
Unless anybody else wants to follow.
There's never really been a homeless issue or like beggars in the street in Jopus Landing. Usually people, will find some work to do, especially with it being a port city. There's always something to do. You've noticed that there seem to be a few more than normal, you would say. And the ones that you pass by, they don't seem to engage asking for alms or money or anything else like that. They seem to be sitting there staring blankly just into the world.
Well, that's new.
And not to point out the obvious, but any number of things could have happened. They could have been involved in an accident. There could have been any number of things that happened. But yes.
It wasn't a volcano.
Well, the thing is, Jopus Landing, we've never, as we're walking, we've never really had a problem with, people in need of work or the homeless, for instance. There's usually something to do, even if you don't really have anything. And I mean, in those rare few that do legitimately are homeless or need alms, they typically ask for it. These people, it's almost like they're lifeless. It's disconcerting.
And we have no idea who they are or what they did. There could have been a clash of boats that happened, people just being careless, and the unfortunate people were caught in the resulting accident. If there's a mine nearby, a mine collapse. We have no idea. Not that I want to seem like I am just saying that this is not a problem.
As they're walking, Zora will trail a little bit behind and have Axel go up to a couple of them and cast Heart Sight on them.
Heart Sight is the one that allows you to see their alignment and things.
Sprite touches a creature, knows the creature's current emotional state. If the target fails a DC 10 Charisma saving throw, it knows the alignment. But just at a base level, it knows kind of their current emotional state. Celestials, Fiends, and Undead automatically fail the saving throw. Don't know if that has anything to do with it.
Just 1 second. Sorry, I would normally interrupt this, but I've got something going on. Give me just 1 second.
Nope, it's all good.
Did we want to pause for a
Can we?
break?
Yeah, let's take a quick break, and I'll come back to that. I'm sorry, something's going on out there.
That's good.
Nothing major. So nothing major. I gotta go take care of it. We'll be back real soon, guys. Let me go take care of this, and then we'll come right back. Okay? Give us 10 minutes, maybe. All right. Thanks. Be right back. Stay here. Let people know we're here.
Took a swing at a wrecking ball and I prayed for my downfall, and I found a way to reconcile, 'cause in my heart it's not worthwhile. It's a bloody battlefield where some go down, others heal. In the end it's all the same. All you can do is play the game. Oh, do we say goodbye? Refuse to question why. I'm sad to say I'm sorry, so lie. Pretend that you're okay. Swear that you will stay. Keep trying for one day. I'm sick of all these lies. Don't care if I capsize. There's nothing left for me to hide. Don't wanna live a lie. Too many lows, too many highs. Too many things to criticize. And so I leave it all behind. Don't wanna live a lie. Life kept spitting at my feet and forced me down a dead-end street, when all I had went up in flames, burning only dark remains. I cover up every part of my skin, oh, 'cause I don't like the person within. Oh, I know I'm the one to blame. All I can do is take the shame. Oh, do we say goodbye? Refuse to question why. I'm too sad to say I'm sorry, so lie and pretend that you're okay. Swear that you will stay. Keep trying for one day. Whoa, I'm sick of all these lies. Don't care if I capsize. There's nothing left for me to hide. Don't wanna live a lie. Too many lows, too many highs. Too many things to criticize. So I leave it all behind. Don't wanna live a lie. A lie. No, don't wanna live a lie. Live a lie. Ooh. I'm sick of all these lies. Don't care if I capsize. Oh no.
it would, and I'm glad.
And with that, souffle is code word for crime. That's what's the new shirt. That's the new shirt. Shirts this season. Don't worry, she's circus trained. Oh, wait, isn't she circus trained or something like that? What is it? How does it go?
Well, she
Don't
is
worry,
circus
she's
trained.
circus
She's circus
trained.
trained.
She is circus
Yeah,
trained.
she's circus trained. She is circus trained. Yeah.
And the new one is souffle is code word for crime.
Mm-hmm.
I like
Not
it.
in any Thieves' Cant dictionary I've ever heard of.
The kitchen thief
Obviously,
can't.
Dalt's just a little bit higher in the criminal organization queue.
Or he's just making shit up.
The joy of cooking thieves can't.
Are you going to ask him, though?
Is this Starry? Maybe. Me? No.
Cooking
Hey,
with crime. It's just the new cookbook out on the shelves.
Isn't that just Martha Martha Stewart? I mean, she's a criminal.
Dolt is just Martha Stewart. That's it.
Oh.
Mm,
That's Martha Stewart's the face claim for this one is it's made into a movie.
Remember, Martha Stewart wasn't a fucking snitch. She snitched on nobody.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Snitches get freshly baked stitches.
So Axel pops over to one of the people that are sitting there and does his thing. And you said it's a DC 10 charisma check?
that's to find out their alignment.
Oh, he's not looking for alignment, just their emotional state?
Current emotional states.
The interior appears like the interior. They're mostly in a catatonic state. Like their emotional state is just a plateau. They seem to not care. They have no worry.
Well, that's a concerning thing.
They're almost husk-like.
Zoro cast detect magic.
Yes. There is magic about them. Faint hint of transmutation.
That's even more concerning. Yeah, so let's kind of walk up and be like, tap, tap, tap. They're, the people, they're pretty much catatonic, and they have like a little bit of transmutation magic kind of hanging on to them.
So it's not enlightenment.
No?
They haven't transcended.
Would I know of any spells that might have any kind of... Or heard of any spells that might do something in particular with the studies we had at the Grand Acadium?
Maybe. Not spells that you're aware of that you found. That ritual that you remember?
Yeah.
Maybe something along those lines.
Okay. Let's get back to the monastery.
Okay. Moving yourselves to the monastery. I assume all of you are going unless anybody else has plans otherwise. Okay. The monastery remains with its doors open. You can see the brothers and sisters moving throughout the building. as you normally would. The library looks unchanged from what you can see. Entering in, where do you go first? What do you want to do first?
He's gonna see if he can find his dad.
Okay, so going to your father's chambers first, then, right?
Yeah.
As you approach, you can see one of the brothers leaving the room, carrying a bowl, an empty bowl. You can see remnants of what appears to be some sort of soup in the bowl. As he comes out, he sees you and he goes, "Oh, Satael, you've come to see your father."
That was the idea, yes.
He's not well. You came at the appropriate time. Please, go and see him. He seems to be slipping from this place. Just in the door?
Yeah, he's just...
All right. As you enter in, you can see the frame of your father lying in his bed. He's always been a stout man. He's a dwarf. He's always been this very stout figure. Even in his advanced age, he still carries himself with all the pride and, the uprightness that you would see with any dwarf. As you appear and look in on him, though, he seems frail. His eyes are a bit roomier than what you remember. While his beard was already gray, you can see that it appears to have turned to a white in certain places. As you enter in, he kind of looks over at you for a second, as though he can see you but not see you at the same time. You watch as his bushy eyebrows kind of perk up. My boy, how are your studies going? Are you doing well?
Yeah, I've found several things which might be doing what you described to me.
Well, I hope that the teachers and the rectors aren't too hard on you.
Why?
It's good that you came home to see me. Having you off at school, it hurts. And he reaches out one gnarled hand and takes your hand in his, and you can feel it's light and his skin is papery. That he just kind of clutches it, not with the strength that he once had, but he still clutches your hand. How goes your wizard training? I pray that it is treating you well.
It's going fine. I've learned quite a lot.
That is good. Have you brought friends with you then? And he kind of looks past you.
Yes. He'll look at them, and is like, these are friends I met at school.
That is good. They are wizards as well, then,
yeah? Yes. Yeah.
Well, not yet wizards, but soon, right?
In training, yes. One of them has a very special innate connection to magic, which is interesting to study.
That is interesting. Are you on? Is there some sort of time off that they have allowed you for school?
Well, I did hear that you were ill, and they let me come and visit.
It is good. I don't get around as much as I used to. It seems the floor is a bit colder. The air a bit crisper these days.
Well, you are getting a little bit along in years, old man.
This is true. I'm sorry, but I'm not good company today. I don't feel well.
Well, that's fine.
I think I will sleep.
Okay.
And he squeezes your hand, and he kind of turns his head to the side, and he continues to see that he's fallen to sleep, his chest rising and falling as he just seems to kind of lay there. But he seems a lot frailer than what he was.
He'll just stand up and he'll just turn without talking to anybody and just head to his room. Even if he has to march through people to do it.
I'm pretty sure your friends understand. I don't think anyone's going to stand in your way unless anybody wants to refute that.
Zora's gonna leave Axel here and say, watch him come find one of us if something changes.
Axel, usually very verbose and glib, is actually really quiet. And he just says, "Of course," and then kind of floats off. The old dwarf is quietly sleeping. I assume the rest of you leave him to his rest. Satiel, you return to your room. What are the rest of you doing? You're here at Jopus Landing, and there's something going on, but where do you start? What do you do? It's a story. Let's start with you. What are you doing in this moment? Satiel just stormed past you. Well, not stormed past you, but...
Oh, no, he's storming.
Okay. No, that was a full-on storm. We're talking like Cat 5 storming.
She's gonna go right after him, just to make sure he's not gonna do something stupid.
No, I mean, you watch as he disappears into his own room.
Yeah, that I didn't stutter.
Well, okay.
You know, I'm assuming the door is closed, so she's going to knock.
There's a light rapping at the door. She's full on SWAT team door. Boom, boom, boom. Open the door.
No, she's being significantly more tactful than that.
What?
She just walks up and kicks the door open.
I'm not gonna waste my breath asking if you're okay, because it's very clear you're not. What can we do?
Be useful and do some research.
Okay. Do you have a suggestion on where you want us to start?
The library is typically a good place.
Wow, thank you, Captain Obvious. I was referring to subject matter. I understand you're hurting. Do not make this more difficult than it needs to be.
The door just swings open. And he is... You understand. Do you?
Are you... Do not say something that you are going to regret. I am here to help. I am not here to hurt. I am not here to hinder. Do not say something to me that you're going to regret. Yes, I understand. Everybody hurts differently. You got here in time.
He just waves a hand and makes a copy of all the notes about the mind manipulation spells. Start with that.
Thank you. When you're feeling up to it, and you want to talk, I'll be in the library. don't forget to eat. She's just gonna take the notes but gently pat the back of his hand as she does so before she is off to the library. To make herself useful, as he so glibly put it.
The rest of you see Satiel storm off. As he does, you watch as Astari peels away from the group, following behind him a moment later. In that moment, after he storms past, Tangaroa, what are you doing?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'll probably turn to the party and ask, did he mention anything about being sick or being unwell before we left?
I don't recall anything, and he didn't look ill when we left. And Satiel said something about memories being lost and things like that, but nothing of illnesses or nothing like this.
Should we go and check to see if that hag is still hagging?
It could be an idea. I mean, we left the daughter alive. We killed the mother. I know. I really know if I knew what had the face of my mother's killer, I would make their life a living hell in very personal ways. If the hag is still alive, that could be what she's doing.
I think we need to go back to that area where we fought them and see if we can find them.
But the people in this town are also... Something's not right. I mean, more than obvious, but there's a root for it. I don't know if it's there or somewhere else.
You think there's something in the water?
There was magic around the folks that were all catatonic. They're just sitting there, not even begging, just sitting there. Like they didn't care. Like they just were like, here I am. Oh, I'll go ask some of the brothers and sisters what's been going on. Do we want to meet back up? And I don't think any of us should go to that place alone. Do we just want
That's
to
fair.
meet back up maybe around dinner and plan?
That sounds okay for me.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. If I find anything out, I'll try to find one of you guys.
I would like to go around the town. I know we've spoken and looked at some of the people, but just explore the town a little bit. Look over the people to see if any of them are wearing something similar to each other. Like if there's a slight chance that maybe some of them have worked the same jobs together, or if some of them...
Give me an investigation check.
I'll help out with that.
I take small man over. Let's do that one. Investigation?
Mm-hmm.
Yikes.
You have advantage. You're getting help
Okay.
from
Perfect, because that first one's a 9.
what's that guy's name? Mello.
Mello.
A weird one.
The crazy one.
The crazy one.
Guy with that
One
weird
that's hitting
guitar.
on my mom. 18.
A few of them, I mean, they don't have any uniform, but you get the general garb and dress are probably going to be dockside. Like people who work near the water. You can see encrusted salt on the lower parts of the hems of their pants and sleeves. Their skin has the resemblance of being, of being tanned by the sun. But not all of them. There's
Okay.
a number of them.
So some by the docks, but not everyone from the docks.
Mm-hmm.
You say docks, and I'm like, Mom.
Don't park here.
Mom, park around back.
You gotta go. Park around
Just circle the
back.
lot. Circle the lot.
We'll flag you down. Look, if we put quarters in all of the machines, I'm just saying.
It's an idea. Other side of the island. Other side of the place, please.
Other side of the island.
Some by the docks, but not everyone by the docks. How did the docks look whenever we came in? Were they still being, like, well kept by workers and by everything, or was it like a little bit of a ghost dock?
It wasn't a ghost dock. There were still people coming and going.
Okay. Was it still just, like, was it as, like, say, as busy as whenever we first left? No, we didn't leave this town through the dock. Never
When
mind.
you first arrived, not quite as much, but I mean, it's still
Busy enough.
yeah.
Okay. I guess my next question is, can hags really focus a whole town? Whenever we dealt with the hag, it felt like she only focused me.
Give me a nature check.
Yeah.
I'll let you choose nature or arcana.
Doesn't matter, they're both +1.
A question.
Uh-huh.
Since Ezra was the one that helped Satil with the initial study of hags, would he potentially have advantage?
I don't need it, because I just rolled a nat 20.
That works too.
21!
When you were helping study, you learned quite a bit about the hags. You learned that there were different types, different styles, that they formed covens, and one of the things you remember reading about was the type that you came across, which would be the night hag, and how they cause nightmares in people, and it causes them to not be able to, like, focus and stuff like that. Everything that you've read about the night hag and that you recall, even from having your own dreams tampered with and your own things, it doesn't seem the same. Like, you were weakened, but you weren't put in a catatonic state.
And my memories weren't stolen as far as I remember.
No, I mean, yeah, your memories weren't stolen. It was like she tapped into a nightmare and was feeding off of you based on that.
A nasty little mosquito.
This is something altogether different. So you're pretty sure it's not a hag.
I mean, I can see if, like, we want to explore where that night hag was, but this doesn't feel or seem like a night hag anymore. This seems like something else entirely. I mean, I'm no bookworm, but it feels like our best bet may be looking into something that actively maybe steals memories. But a hag, I don't think, is our first stop.
They had magic about them, but it was... Did you say transmutation?
Yeah, it wasn't like looking like a magic item. Like something had hit them, and it was like the afterglow of it.
This smells like the fart of a cult.
That's not a saying.
It is now.
Stop trying to make that work. Seems like the fart
It
of
is
a
now.
cult.
If it wasn't before, it is now.
Fart of a cult is
Shirt
never
number
going to happen.
3.
Stop trying to make it happen. I love it.
That's where I was going with that. Okay. So you get the idea that it's not a hag, but something is altering their minds.
Does Jopus Landing have an underground that we don't know about? Like, Is there something or anything under the town or the is city?
I mean, if we don't know about
Ancient
it, how would
burial
we know
ground.
about
Yeah, where are those like weird like snake tunnels underground with like the big sacrifice room right in the center of town?
That
it? Wrong game.
Dang it.
as I'm like,
It's not a bad idea. No.
layer of the white worm. What?
Got it. Good idea.
That was a movie reference. Layer of the white worm.
That's why you got an eye roll.
Is that what you did? Did you eye rolled me? That means you must have seen it. I won't subject anyone else to it. Zardoz, I'd make you all watch just because Sean Connery in diapers is funny.
It's hardly anyway.
Young Sean Connery, not
Yeah.
current Sean Connery.
I mean,
I-
different diapers.
I'm still not okay with that entire phrase. It doesn't matter what actor you put in front of it. Okay?
Oh, you should see his hair.
Zora's gonna go talk
Don't
to
you
the brothers
dare!
and the
You
sisters.
shut your mouth, Cap. Shut your mouth. I heard you start that. I heard you start. Don't you dare.
Brothers and sisters, yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, you arrive back at the monastery, and they are all around the place working. Anybody in
Just-
particular? Just whatever first random one you can grab.
Probably just in general, she'll go around and ask, is something going on? I mean, last time we were here, I mean, I don't mean disrespect, there were just not a lot of people out sitting in the street catatonic.
They're
Yeah.
loitering, and it's annoying.
No,
Good cop, bad cop, but neither one of them are cops.
just concerned. Has something happened, or
Give me an insight check. Sounds good. I don't know that face. Maybe not.
17 on the dice for an 18?
Okay, perfect. They're not necessarily like obfuscating the truth. It's more like they're reticent to talk about it. You know how it is don't introduce that into the universe. But after asking around, you finally find one of the younger ones who says, "We didn't notice it for a few weeks, and then it seemed to crop up here and there. There were people who just didn't seem to want to do and go. The families don't know what to do with them, so they just put them out. I mean, they feed them, but it's hard." And he kind of looks at you and says, "Look, follow me." And
She follows.
takes you back to your room where you guys were staying, and it was a bunch of rooms back there that were empty. Nobody was in them. Quite the opposite is true now. You can see that they are filled, not to capacity, but there's a lot of people in there, all in the same state. They're lying in bed, and you can see that there are a numerous amount of brothers and sisters who are working with them to make sure that they are cleaned and changed, and it's turned into an infirmary, and they're doing their best to tend to the people as what they can, which is why whenever you noticed before when you came into the monastery library that there weren't as many people working in the library, because they're now back here working in this makeshift infirmary. They have a few beds. He says it's been like this for like the last, I don't know even now. At first we thought maybe it was something that was spreading and people would be passed around, so we started keeping people away and housing the ill here, but then we noticed that it wasn't infecting anyone else, so we don't know what's happening.
Is there
They
any-
start off slowly slipping away into this. They don't just turn around one morning, you wake up and there. It's like they start losing parts of their memory, like they're becoming something. And he says, And he kind of looks around for a moment. Some of them have started to have a physical change.
Out of character me. Oh no. Oh no.
Why are you flipping me the bird? You don't know what I got planned. Don't act like you know.
I've seen enough Baldur's Gate to know where this is going.
I will, the DM will tip the screen up for a moment to let you see behind it. It is not what you think it is. He puts the screen back down because now what you all guessing.
How is there anything common between them? A common background? A common frequented place?
The only thing that we can really tell you is that most of the people that we have this from have either been visiting the docks themselves or, somewhere around there, but it's not like it's any one particular place. Or not that I've seen. I'm sorry, I'm not more help there.
No. You're doing help here, though. You're taking care of these people. We'll see what we can do.
Okay.
Have you been able to take any of them out of town and see any change?
We really haven't tried that yet. I'm sorry.
You'll just make awkward eye contact with the others. I'm not saying we should kidnap people.
No.
I'm not saying it.
He's waggling his eyebrows now. I'm not saying it.
But I'm saying it without saying it.
I'm not saying it, but I'm inferring it.
I'm thinking it real loud.
He's screaming at you mentally.
It's like smoking. Like smoke signals.
He's already an air fire ganassi. The smoke's not unusual.
Yeah, but now it's just smoke signals that says this one maybe? What about that one?
It forms a hand and points down to one of them. And then just kind of does this.
Smoky mage hand.
This one seems light. Just carry and run.
This one's just a child. We could just tuck it under our arm.
I am almost sad Zastari is missing this conversation.
This one's a halfling. We've done this before. We've toted around a halfling.
Jesus Christ.
Where are you going with that oddly adult-looking child? Don't worry about it. We'll be back in a bit.
We're going on a walk.
Ice cream.
It's ice cream.
Getting some fresh air.
We're going out to get some air. Yeah. Real stuffy.
Now I just imagined you Weekend at Bernie's. Weekend at Bernie, a halfling. You just.
Good grief, you people.
But he's so short that you can actually use the puppet strings.
Yes.
Oh,
You just-
no.
Reasonable height.
You're marionetting a halfling, you wicked sick people.
It's like, I'm
gonna be a real boy.
I'm gonna go check down by the docks and look around and see if there's anything that pings with the same magic that's around these folks.
Okay.
I'll meet you guys back here.
So the rest of you are hanging around the infirmary while Zora heads to the docks.
No, I'll go with her.
Okay.
I was gonna say I'd probably go to the docks.
All right. So let's assume that the rest of the party is off to the docks. Great. While you guys are doing that, Zastari, give me an investigation roll, please.
Sorry, I'm working on homework while playing tonight. That is a nat 20 plus 3 for 23.
Looking through the notes about the ritual and stuff like that, you don't. How can I say this? Let's word this properly. You get the understanding that this is something that would take a long time and a lot of resources to perform. on the scale with which it is being performed. Noticing that it is affecting a large, well, not a large, but a number of the citizens within the town. You quickly ascertain that while it is similar, you don't believe it is the same thing.
Then my next thought is I am looking for creatures that would do this as a feature or something that they're innately able to do just to rob somebody of their memory. This also includes the fact that I am going to be looking into the illithids, just
I mean, you're looking
because
through anything.
I don't know exactly. I know that it's been mentioned, but I don't know exactly what it is. So Zastari is looking for the information so she knows what it is.
How much time do you want to spend on the creatures?
I mean, she's doing this till she either finds something or the party comes and says we have a plan.
Okay. Go ahead and give me another investigation check, please.
Okay. That is a 13.
Okay. You search for several hours through beasts and creatures, and you don't seem to come upon anything that would do something like this. There are those creatures that can mimic and cry out and alter the thought pattern of people, but not to the degree to wipe a memory. Not in the books that you found in that, in the few hours that you've been searching.
Okay. I'm also, if there's any brothers or sisters that are around that aren't doing anything incredibly important, she will enlist their assistance as well.
Okay. Since they know the library better, go ahead and give me an investigation check, and I'll let you have advantage on this one.
Okay.
Since you're enlisting the help of one of the brothers or sisters.
That's an 18.
Okay. It is not a beast or a creature in the common sense of what you're thinking about, but there are things out there in the world that can do this. You mentioned to the brother and sister about the illithid, and they talk about you read over what it is, but they give you like a very concerned look whenever you mention it.
She kind of covers it over just basically by saying somebody had mentioned it once and I wasn't sure exactly what it was. It was more just she wanted to fill that gap in her knowledge.
Right. Okay.
Then, she's just kind of like, yeah, no, I just want to fill the gap in my knowledge, not that I think that this is what's causing it. Just to try and put them a little bit more at ease about sharing that information with her.
Okay. It wasn't a concerned look. It was like, yeah, okay, I get what you're saying. I'm not saying this is what's causing the issue. I'm just trying to fill in some knowledge, because immediately they go like, could it be these things that's doing it? There's a lot of information about them eating the brains, devouring the brains of individuals. There's not too much about them wiping memories, but however, there is talk of enthralling people, making them do their bidding. But this doesn't seem to be that. This seems to be something else. Give me one more investigation check. Again, you have advantage on the.
That's a 14.
Okay. Eventually your eyes are tired and you're rubbing at them, realizing that you're exhausted in searching all of this. You look up and realize that you've spent 6 hours of time investigating all of this stuff. And you pinch the bridge of your nose and your stomach rumbles loudly. It might be time for you to take a break and maybe reapply yourself at a later time.
Yes and no. She's going to ask if it would be permissible for her to take her meal here in the library, and she's going to keep going while she works.
Okay. The brother that you're working with looks at you for a moment and says, "Given our current situation, I think it's okay." And he dips off to serve up a plate of whatever meal they're sharing that evening.
Okay. And she does.
He comes.
She eats and she keeps working.
Okay. Then, with that in mind, go ahead and give me one last check. You have advantage on it again.
Well, that is 20. It's a dirty 20.
Okay. Reaching through there, you read about an immense creature who has the ability to not only alter the minds, but communicate telepathically with those. If it is spoken with, it can return in kind a conversation. There are reports of these things being both innately terrible and evil, and others that aren't. So it's hard to tell. They seem to follow a natural order or a law that seems to abide to them only, where they take what they need to. But they do have the ability to enslave creatures as well as pull from its mind and morph it into something that it can use, making minions of those creatures who are affected by it.
Does it have a name?
It has a few names. Deep Terror.
Starry is going to take one look at all those warnings and just sigh, because she knows that's not going to happen. And then at which point she probably just closes up the books, makes space for herself, and then just falls asleep at the desk.
Just falls asleep at the desk with the book
She
open
takes-
on Aboleth.
She takes her 4 hours trancing on, like, just leaning against the desk.
Okay.
Or unless one of the party comes and finds her.
Well, while you've been doing all that studying, the party has been moving throughout the city trying to find more information about what's going on and gathering information. Party, where are you heading? The last thing you were doing was talking about contemplating kidnapping a halfling.
No, we were heading to the docks.
To the docks.
That's right, you're heading down to the docks. All right, as you arrive at the docks, for you all, it's still earlier in the day than what it is for Zastari. What are you guys looking for in particular? Where do you want to start? The dock is full of places. There are bars or taverns. There are fishmonger stalls, things like that. So what would you like to do first? Who would you like to
I'm
see?
kind of curious to find the place with the least activity, considering how catatonic and everybody else was.
Yeah.
Investigation check.
Lord
Righto.
behold, she'd be walking around just refreshing detect magic every 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
10.
Okay. Given the time of day, the market itself is starting to close down, and you can see that a lot more of the ships are starting to come in. There is the sound of like a conch shell that's being blown in, but it fills the air, and you can hear the sounds of the great chains leaving the water as the pulleys are enacted and the machines close the gigantic gates that lead out of the seaport and closing everything else inside. There seems to be the least amount of activity docks themselves where the boats are.
Well, we can't very well just go sniffing around every single ship. A, that would take forever, and B, usually rude.
Did Ezra share the knowledge that a lot of the folks were dock workers, or may have
Yes.
had
Some sort of form with the dock. He would have mentioned that a lot of the clothing had some sort of like crust of salt per se on the hems, if anything like that. It wasn't everyone, but it was a good amount.
Zora would ask around, like, if there'd been a particular location that maybe had been bad luck recently. Like people had taken ill or grown distant after working. Something that the sailors.
So you're asking
would've
around
noticed.
on that one?
Yeah, just
Go ahead and give me another investigation check, please. Are you trained? You're not proficient in investigation, are you?
I am proficient in
You
this.
are? Okay. Anybody would like to help out with this?
I will.
Okay. I'll give you
Ezra would have
advantage on it.
switched. Ezra would have switched to human form at this point, as well as we're like walking.
Okay.
Just
18.
better not to instill.
18. Somebody, they tell you, you catch the word from a few people. They don't really mention any place that seems to be down on its luck. Quite the opposite. There's a place called the Half-Hooded Lantern. That's been actually like doing a lot better than everyone expected. Like it's been the hottest. It's the hot new joint on the wharf. The boardwalk has a new bar, and it's called the Half-Hooded Lantern. Everybody wants to get in. It's standing room only. No, it seems to be that's the place that everybody seems to be drawn to.
Okay. Looks around the others. Do we want to go check this place out? Do we want to go back to the monastery first? And there's 4 of us here. What's the worst that could happen?
True.
I mean, I usually find the best way to get information from people is when they're drunk.
It's true, actually.
That's fair.
Let's go get a drink
Let's
then.
go get drunk. Wait.
All right.
No, not drunk.
No.
Have a drink if you want one, but we have to get information from these people.
Okay, so you're making your way to the Half-Hooded Lantern? All right. It is easy to find because there is a glut of people that are moving in that direction. The big sign shows a hooded lantern, but half of the hood is over the bullseye part. And you watch as that is clearly what it's called. And it's even neat because the sign itself is lit up, so you can see that the half of the lantern that is visible is actually shining, giving a kind of a
money on the sign.
Interesting look. The windows that you see up front are leaded glass, and they are brightly lit from inside, and you can hear it as you get there, a cacophony of voices, both having a grand time and lamenting losses and things like that. Pushing through the door, and it's open, but pushing into the door, you are like moving through a crowd of people. It is literally shoulder to shoulder in there. Very little in the way of table space left. What tables you do see, though, are set up high, and you see people standing around there. They're about chest high, and every once in a while you see people raise their hands and do this and then toss. You see other people sitting on high tables with cards in front of them, and it seems to be that the tavern is not only a tavern, but also a gambling hall.
Still got detect magic going on.
Okay. None of the people... I'll start with none of the dice and the cards and all that stuff are magical. The tables aren't magical, nothing like that. Some of the people do have magic items on them, but you get that it's more the mundane, run-of-the-mill stuff. One of the people you do see, every once in a while, his cloak will just billow up from him as though he's striking a dramatic pose, even though there's no wind in there. His cloak is definitely showing off magic. Enchantment magic. You get it's probably one of those gaudy cloak of billowing that people have seen to take into these days. But none of the people in there seem to have any sort of resonate of any sort of magic.
Okay. Well, I can't see over the table, so have at it, gentlemen.
Well, I mean, they're not.
So she's probably like, "What's going on?"
They're like, yeah, she's like looking over the tops of them because they're not, casinos or anything else like that. It's the tables that they're at. You're just at like a little taller table than normal, like a bar top table. Is almost the height of it. So you sorry. Making your way through, you can finally make your way to the bar itself. It's a big, round, completely encircling thing, and there are 3 tenders behind the bar, each of them walking around. You can see definitively male, definitively female, and definitively somewhere in between. They all seem to be walking over. The definitive in between has short-cut hair that's all on the sides. Right on top, though, it's piled up and like pinned down. You can see that they've taken quite a bit of time with it. And it's also bright pink. As you approach the bar, they slide up, put an elbow, and put their chin in their hand. You look thirsty. What can I get for you?
Water?
Water, that's boring. I've got gin.
You got a house special?
Ooh, do we ever? Hang on, I get you one. Spins around and starts like grabbing bottles and things like that off there. Comes up and hands you a glass. It's about that tall, but about that big around. And you can see that there are like distinct colors that are floating in there that are starting to mix in. Slides it across to you. Puts a hand on top of it. That'll be 3 copper.
Can do. Thank you.
No. Enjoy your whirlabout. Because when you make it, you're just whirling about. What about the rest of you?
Yeah, that sounds good. I'll have one too. Hands over the copper.
And once again, whirls about grabbing the right bottles. Same ones. Mixes the drink, sets it down in front of you. It's a perfect blend of liquor that, like, the spirits in it are perfectly blended. There's one that's a little tart and one that's a little sweet to top it off. There's a bitter in there, and then it just seems to all kind of run together in a warm, like almost rum kind of flavor at the end as it runs down. You can definitely tell, Mello, having been deep in the cups before, that it wouldn't take a whole lot of those to put you on your ass.
All right.
So, what brings you to my bar? Well, it's not technically my bar. I just work here, but you know what I mean.
Taking pride in your place of work.
Mm.
We were here a few months ago. Maybe not even that long. At times, weird. But some things have happened since we have come back and left. The people on the streets, just the kind of lethargy and lack of care.
Mm-hmm.
Is that? Do you know anything of it? Are there any rumors?
Honestly, I see them all over the place, poor sots. They just seem to just sit there staring off into nothing. I wish there was more I could do, but just a humble server. Addie, by the way. Well,
Zora.
Adanella, but Addie is fine. Zora, what a lovely name.
Thank you. Have any of your regulars become like the poor sots?
Now that you mention it, I've had a few that have actually become poor sods. Well, not my regulars, but they're regular in here anyway. I say a few. It's about 4 of them. I haven't seen them around. I figured maybe they grabbed a ship out of here. Lord knows I would if I could, but anyway, that's another story. You need another drink, and she looks over at Tangaroa. You need another drink, you talk.
Yeah.
They whirl about the place again, fixing another one of the whirlabouts.
Zora puts the coin up for Tangaroa's drink, and a couple more, just for verbal lubrication.
I got you. Addie makes themselves one as well. Slides one to Tangaroa, just tips theirs back and puts the glass down.
Is there anything in common between them?
They all live here, but I really don't know too much in common with them. You might want to ask Lieb, and they call over their shoulder, Lieb, come here. Walking over to you is a pale man with, well, he's not pale, but his skin seems kind of sallowy looking. And looks like he's like, well, for lack of better, he looks like he's either sweating, perspiring, or something. He just seems to be kind of like that, and
Moist.
you see him. Yeah, he's moist. Not in the fun way. Anyways, he's got a bar towel that you can see, and he mops his neck with it, and kind of like wipes on his face and his arms and stuff. But he walks over, and his hair is like matted down to his head, and he just looks kind of like maybe he doesn't feel well or something. Lieb, and he walks over. What? First of all, back up. Second of all, tell these people what you know about your regulars that come in here. And he just looks at you and goes, my regulars come in here. I pardon Lieb, he does not have the gift of gab that I have. Lubricate yourself, man. Ooh, not on the outside. Ooh, get away. Have a drink, fella. Lieb just looks at you. What do you want to know?
We're concerned about the folks that are in the street. We'd been here, like I was telling Addie here not too long ago, and this wasn't the state of the town. I'm trying to see if it's something that maybe we could assist in correcting.
I work at a bar. What do I know?
Judging by the number of people that come in and out of here, and my own experience in working in a place where many people come in and out of, you probably know more than you would think.
Or you hear things.
Exactly.
Yeah. I here to stay and mind my own business. And again, he mops the towel around his neck and his arms and his face and stuff.
Have you experienced a loss of some sort of patronage? Some regulars? What were they like?
For a second there, the way you presented that, I thought we were going to have a religious talk.
Yeah, like, are you going to hand him a tract?
Are you about to hand me a...
Have you heard about this really cool god?
About to hand me a Tower magazine, a Watchtower magazine. Anyways, he looks at you, goes, people come, people go. As you can tell, we're pretty busy. I don't really notice much. If they don't come around anymore, I figured that they've got no more money to give.
But there hasn't been like a very weird spike or like a downfall in the patronage?
He once again just kind of motions to the nearly packed place, so much so that you had to kind of shrug and struggle your way to the bar. And he goes, haven't noticed a thing.
I guess that's
Haven't noticed or don't care.
What's the difference?
Haven't
Plenty.
noticed or might
silver?
for a few coins.
Oh, do you offer him some coin?
Yeah.
I was about to do the same thing. Mel
He
just
takes
beat me
your
to
2
the
silver and kind of presses his thumb into it and then puts it in his pocket. And he kind of wipes his face again with that towel, which the towel looks as wet as he does.
Dripping.
Yeah,
Blech.
he doesn't even wring it out. He's just like,
Blech.
yeah, it's pretty disgusting.
You're killing me, okay? I worked in a freaking kitchen. Listening to that, you're killing me.
Well,
He's not washing the glasses with it though. I mean,
Doesn't
at least
matter.
Yet.
He looks at you with after you give him your 2 silver, and he goes, Some people seem to come in with a lot of coin saying today's their lucky day. They leave with a bit more, they leave with a bit less. Most of the folks that you seem to be looking for leave with a bit more, or at least they feel good about what they've got.
Any mention of where they might have come from?
Or we're going to with that coin?
Nah. People talk about buying things and doing a little bit more, fixing up their house, things like that, but they just leave once they've gotten whatever it is their desires. I don't care if they come back. Like I said, we got plenty of people to make up for the ones that are now sitting in the street shitting them.
This sort of it's not a question for him, sorry, this is just me thinking and looking around the whole place. Are like the games being run specifically by like workers here?
Mm-hmm. And you notice that Addy and Lieb, even to his degree, and all the people that are basically the house folk that are running the tables, they're all wearing a uniform type thing.
Okay. What's the most popular table here?
Lieb starts to say something, and Addy goes, "You can leave, Lieb." That's funny. It never gets old. He just kind of says, "Whatever," and just shrugs and walks off. Addy kind of leans forward, putting a hand on the hand, just kind of like looking at you, and they go, "Probably be the dice table," and points to a long table that you can see a lot of people are kind of thronging around. People think that there's too much knowledge in cards, and they're very simple folk, but anybody can throw dice and count up pips. That's easy enough.
Is there always the same person manning the dice table?
Oh no, they switch out every once in a while.
Okay.
We want to keep it fair. I myself even take a turn at the tables, but I actually like it here. Puts their hands on the bar and kind of like smooths across the bar. This is my home.
Is there a popular server of sorts?
I mean, I'm popular. Lieb has people that he fixes drinks for, but nobody really would call Lieb popular.
I can understand why.
Sonia would be another one, and you see Sonia, and she's got the blonde ringlet hair. You know, it's all in the perfect ringlets, and she's bouncing around. She's just a little overweight, but like it's cherubic, and people love her, and she's flirting with anybody who's standing at the bar. Doesn't matter, boy, girl, or otherwise. She's just having a great time, and she's making a lot of tips. And a lot of people are like, hey, we love you. And, she's apparently a fan favorite.
Okay. Figured I'd ask. Maybe there would be a person of sorts, but...
No, I mean, the tables keep idle conversation down to a minimum, and then, of course, the bar up here is the place where the chatter goes on.
Oh, fair enough.
I cut you off, Molly. What were you going to say?
Oh no, this isn't like in character. Did we mention? We said that like the common occurrence that we'd sort of figured out was that these people were coming from the dock area.
A good part of them were dock.
Yeah.
There were a few that were coming from the dock, yeah, that had been at the dock or dock work, things like that.
And something made them think it was their lucky day. And apparently it was.
Then, Can I go down to the actual dock then?
Sure.
I'll let everyone know that I'm going. I'm not just going to sneak away.
Okay. Tonga excuses themselves to the dock.
Do you want us to come with you?
If you'd like.
I was about to say I'll go. Better not.
Yeah,
Well-
that's not to split.
I'll join him unless Mello, Zora, you want to.
I'll see what I can hear here. Hear here.
Here, here.
I'll stick with
meet you
Zora
back.
then. Yeah.
We'll meet you back up at the monastery when we're all done.
Okay, so Zora and Mello are staying at the tavern. Ezra and Tangaro are going down to the dock. And all of this time, Setiel, you've been doing what? You originally threw yourself into your room.
Moping.
I mean, yes.
I mean, if that's what you want to tell me you want to do for the time
He-
you're around.
He's more than likely definitely been moping at least some before he gets up and goes to the library.
Okay. Not realizing how much time had passed as you, for lack of a better way of saying it, wallow. You do find Zastari sitting in the library. Currently, her eyes are kind of partially closed, and she's sitting, and it's a familiar sight. She is in her trance. She is resting her elven body.
He sort of leans over her shoulder to see what she was looking at.
Open on there is a book turned to a page that talks about a creature that is named numerous things, but most commonly referred to as an aboleth.
I need to make some kind of history or arcana check to see if what they might be able to do from what she has here would
I
coincide
mean-
with what we were seeing.
Sure. Most of it is already laid out in the book, so just skimming the pages that it's turned to will tell you a lot of the same information that you already know.
Yeah.
But if you want to try to give me an arcana check beyond that,
Basically, wants to see if he can put 2 and 2 together
mhm.
and hopefully get 4 and not 22.
Technically, that would be better than 11, but yeah.
What? Okay. Dirty 20.
Okay. You get the idea that a lot of this might be exactly that, a common occurrence. There are a few bits and pieces that don't match up.
Mhm.
Specifically, there's one thing that your father had told you, which was about the missing pages in the books and things like that.
Yeah.
There's nothing in the aboleth like. I know I'm going to say the wrong word, so lambast me if you need to. Etymology, the diet, the behavior, not entomology. Entomology, etymology, the nature. There you go.
But if there were, the pages would be gone.
I mean, maybe. Not the etymology, that's the word, the history of a word.
Mm.
Entomology is the study of insects, so it's all right. Yeah. Anyways, the zoology creature. Somebody in chat's telling me the word right now. They're screaming at me. Anyways, there. Again, like I said, there's not a lot here that coincides with them removing pages of books or removing information from books.
Ontology?
Anyways, so that's what you've learned.
Mhm.
Is that there's some of it that, yes, it's very similar to what you're seeing in this book,
Yeah.
and there's parts of it that don't seem to make sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's just looking at this going, son of a... He'll look at the story and just...
I mean, you try, But the rogue instincts, and her hand is immediately viced around your wrist before you touch her. Have you eaten?
Shakes
You
the
got
arm.
your hand.
Yeah, he just shakes the arm instead.
Have you eaten?
Nope.
Okay. You think maybe you should do that before we get talking about this?
About sea gods that like to eat people's memories?
Yep,
That thing.
that one. One, you'll be significantly more open to ideas and more capable of coming up with a plan. Since every other plan in this frickin' book states, leave it alone. And I have a feeling that's just not gonna do it for you, so.
No.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So, go get something to eat, and then we'll talk.
Mm-hmm.
Does he still have the book in his hands?
Yep.
She's just gonna reach up and close the book while it's still in his hand, and then take it and put it on the desk. Go.
He just holds up a hand and makes a perfect copy of it.
I don't care if you want to look through it while you eat. Go get something to eat. Matter of fact, I did most of my research while eating. I don't say this because I don't want to talk about this. I say this because I would rather have you at your full capacity. You're not you when you're hungry.
Have a Snickers.
Nobody is. And if this is truly a creature of the water, we may have other problems.
We'll need to get it out of the water, or we'll have to go into the water.
Yep,
After.
and last I checked, only one person in this party can breathe underwater, and that's the paladin. So, please go get something to eat.
Let the paladin be dumb. Run it like the hill giant. That worked last time.
That's all I ask. Just go get something to eat. We can talk about this while you eat. I don't think it's too unreasonable a thing to ask.
He pauses, immediately turns, marches into the library further. That he's going to look for the water breathing spell.
Mm-hmm.
And then he'll just
She's gonna look for
marches
one
off
of
to
the
the
brothers
kitchen.
or sisters. Oh, you are gonna
And then
head to the
marches
kitchen
off
after,
to the
okay.
kitchen.
with
Okay.
the book.
With
but
the
yeah.
book. Okay, fair enough. And then
Alright.
she's just gonna kind of organize the space because she knows that they're gonna sit down and talk about this, and that there's gonna have to be notes taken. So she
Alright.
organizes the space a little bit more so that the books aren't just strewn everywhere. There's places for them to have parts
Sure.
out to write.
All right, and as you guys take care of that for the evening, doing the food thing and you cleaning the book so that you guys conversation, we're going to go back to the docks for a moment. As the two of you arrive at the docks, you can see that there are several piers set out. Each, and I say several, a lot of them, and they not all of them are full, but there are a lot of ships that are currently docked at the ports and at the piers. It runs in a half circle around the edge of this lagoon, and each of the piers is probably about 100 to 150 feet out, where the water is at a depth where the ships can sit in there even when their berths are full, so that they don't drag the bottom. They're well tended to and cared for. As you march, you can see the local militia, the guards, are making their rounds and things like that. What are you looking for? What are you doing out here?
You did.
I can't hear a word you said.
Fuck.
Huh.
I was thinking.
I like heard the click and I was like, "Did she just mute herself?"
I was thinking perhaps we could tackle both parts of this area, if you want to search above and on the docks, look for something on top of the water, something on the land, and I search under the water. The only thing I know about is creatures underwater, since that's mostly what I've faced.
Tonga, did we not just talk
We'll be
about
right next to you. You'll be
splitting?
above. I'll be below, just by like 20 feet. We won't be
I
that far.
mean,
I mean, you can swim if you'd like.
yeah, but I can't swim to keep up with you, Tonga.
I'll go slow.
Doggy paddle.
Paddle.
Search the waters, but don't go too far. If you run into something, or even see something, immediately dip out.
I plan on it.
And can you... you can't stay in my view. You'll be under ships and stuff.
I will keep my eyes up and try to keep you in my view.
Actually, wait, can I... I want to use Aura Sight on Tonga.
Okay, what does that allow you to do?
So, my Aura Sight does, like... You're supposed to make a wisdom saving throw, though you have no knowledge of, like, me forcing you to attempt it. It gives me a lot of things, but one of the things I want directly is for the next 24 hours, or until you use the ability again, you can use an action to determine the creature's distance and direction from you.
Okay.
If you tell me about it, like, I would purposely fail it. I would choose to fail.
Yeah,
Basically
like,
accept
as
it.
Ezra would say, I have something that can, it'll at least let me know where you are, as long as I focus on you.
Sounds fine.
And he would take the moment to just kind of, I guess, almost bond in a way to him. I quit. No.
No,
no, and then
that's a lie.
yeah. And then I'm more willing to let Tonga go out under the water now by himself.
Okay, so Tonga's gonna go under the sea. All right.
Stay close to me. Yeah.
Well done. Well done. So you dive off into the water?
Yeah.
And how far out are you fetching and going?
Do you think we would do kind of like a walk along the dock?
I mean, you can do that or out to the piers, either one.
Maybe go down like every few piers, that kind of thing.
Sure.
And then I'll kind of like cover the land between it. Maybe go out a little further than the actual piers, but
okay.
I'll try to stick close to the piers.
Okay. Searching out and looking, are you talking to the water?
You cut out, sorry.
Are you speaking to the creatures in the water that you can?
Yeah, I probably would be communicating, like, not like everything I see, but like...
Mm-hmm. Have you seen this thing? What's new in the waters?
Hello, fellow fish.
Have you gotten a new neighbor I don't know about?
If you see something, say something. There seems to be a dearth of wildlife in the water at this time. So it's not as much as you would expect. Occasionally, though, you see something swimming in the water, its body moving in the wavy form that it does, almost as though it's moving sideways, but you watch as an eel makes its way by you. drifting close to the base of the bottom of the lagoon.
All right.
You reach out, and it says, what do you want to ask it, or what do you want to say to it? I'll ask you that question.
I would ask something like, has there been anything unfamiliar in the waters? Has something suspicious happened besides the natural order of sea life?
No. The barnacles left the ship. Barnacles left the ship. I'm leaving that ship too. The barnacles, they left that ship.
Do you know why?
I'm afraid.
Of?
Don't know. Barnacles are dumb. Barnacles leave. That means all other fish leave. I leave.
That makes sense. Have you haven't seen anything, just this?
I see lots of things. I see fish. I see barnacles leaving. I see silt. I see you in the water. I see lots of things.
Well. Alright. Something I should be afraid of?
You big. It's big.
Okay, bigger than me.
Don't know. Same big. Both bigger than me. Same big.
That's that's fair. Well, thank you. And I will leave it be.
Okay. It darts away quickly.
So now I'm looking for something big.
Now you're looking for something big, but you notice he didn't say it was in the water. He said that the barnacles left a ship.
Yes. Oh, fuck, I should have asked him which ship. I'm an idiot.
To be fair, it's probably the one without barnacles.
Probably right.
Is too late? Is he gone?
Sure, no, I'll let you talk to him.
One last question. Which ship did the barnacles leave?
He kind of points back in the direction with where he was going, he came from, and goes, "That ship," and then swims off.
Okay, then I will head the direction of that ship then.
Okay. He's a dumb eel. He doesn't know too much. As you swim along, you can see that there are several ships in the direction that ship is at. As you get around, though, you notice one of them that does not have any barnacles on it, but does seem to have the wonderful green, "I've been sitting here for just long enough to start collecting algae" along it.
Can I, like, once at the front, once at the back of the ship, cast some sort of, like, where I just had it? Like a divine sense, yeah.
Sure. What does divine sense to allow you to detect the presence of?
Good and evil, celestial fiend, and undead within 60 feet.
None of that shows up.
What about... I think I have...
Does it say good and evil, or does it say celestial fiends and undeads?
It says you can detect good and evil, which shows celestial beings. And...
Okay. So it's not that you detect the alignment good and evil. You detect those things, and none of those things show up.
Mm-hmm. Well, then, I will detect good and evil.
All right. What does good and evil allow you to detect? It is not good and evil. There's nothing that's alignment-based anymore.
Thing. Why is it two different things? Okay.
Because one's an ability for your class, and the other one's a spell.
That's true. Yeah.
As you're swimming underneath, Ezra.
Mm-hmm.
I take it you're following along on top.
Yep.
As you get close to one of the where Tangaroa has stopped, you can see a ship that has been sitting here for some time. The boards are starting to be bleached by the sun. Not long enough to be like a relic, but long enough that it's starting to have that look of not being moved in some time. And as you are there, both of you, but separately, hear a voice. I'm lonely. Are you there? I'm so lonely. Are you there?
I'm here.
I love you, Tangaroa.
Where are you?
Trapped. Trapped inside the ship. I can't get out. I don't want to be in here. I'm not supposed to be. I'm supposed to be in the water. It's where I belong.
I will get back to you on that. I will not leave you.
Please don't leave me.
I won't, I promise. I will return.
That's what the others said. And they all left me.
I can assume you're something of the water? You need to be in the water?
I need to be in the water. It's where I belong.
Well, then you have a soft spot within me. I will be back. And I will surface and I will look for Ezra.
Ezra is standing on the wharf right there near where you're at. Ezra, the voice says, please come back. Only to you this time, Ezra. Please. I'll give you whatever you want. Please. Whatever your heart desires. I can do that. I have the ability to. Don't leave me alone in here.
I really feel like Ezra, just in his mind, there's really nothing that he wants. It's just like hearing that somebody's not where they're meant to be is what gets him.
There's nothing in your mind? Ew, never mind. No,
Yeah, bye.
I'm just kidding. Ew, never mind. Go away.
Well,
Give me
like,
the other one. Where's the other one?
It's nothing that he wants. Like,
Mhm.
whenever he thinks about something he wants, there's like, he knows his mom is safe. That's fine. He knows his uncle is safe. The ship is safe. His friends safe in question. The only thing he doesn't want is to go back to his people, but or maybe his father, actually.
Well, as you determine what your heart desires, Zastari and Setael study more what's going on with the potential threat that they're facing. And Zora and Mello toss back drinks. Well, Zora tosses back water like it's going out of style.
She's the real fish of the party.
Mello is making friends. That is where we'll call it for the evening. A plea on the open wind and the salt sea and the lagoon. Asking you what your heart desires, it will give you as long as you let it free. A huge thanks to Eric, who is playing Satiel, who has a new backdrop. You've changed your room, so you have these swords on display there. A fantastic shout out and a thank you to Q, who is playing Ezra, our Oni. And a fantastic shout out and a thank you to Sarah, who is playing as Zora. A wonderful huzzah and thanks to Molly, who is playing as Tangaroa. A warm, heartfelt thank you and much love to our host, who has put up with our shenanigans, make sure that everybody got moved around where they need to be, to Maddie, who is playing as Zastari, and happy to have him back. So a big, huge hug virtually because we're doing social distancing. To Steve, who is playing Mello. I'm again your DM, Heath, aka Captain Sack, aka the Diebear GM. We'll be back again, not tomorrow, because they are taking a break for a week or two.
Next game is on the 14th.
Okay, so 2 weeks from now, on Tuesday, the 14th,
No, because that one is session 0, so that one's not live, is it not?
Okay.
Session 0 is the week before that.
No, that would be this week.
That would be this week.
I was about to say,
Because tomorrow's the 7th.
I was like,
Tuesday's back on the 21st.
21st of April. The Tuesday night.
Roll 20 says the 14th. Yeah.
The group will be back playing Valley by Night Vampire. So tune in for that as Jason takes them all across the valley, the Tennessee Valley, the area that we all live and are familiar with. But come back in and tune in for that. Vampire is a lot of fun, especially if you have a crew that knows how to play it. I sadly am remiss, so I'm not sure how to play it. And you have Jason, and Jason's a fantastic teacher, and will show you exactly what to do. So tune in for that on the 21st. Again, that's 2 weeks from now. Or 2 weeks from tomorrow, but you know what I mean. And then on Wednesdays, we still have Monster of the Week, which is run by Q. And then on Thursdays, we have Descent into Avernus, run by Maddie. So tune in for those. We will be here all week, barring any unforeseen circumstances. And again, we are here and happy to run games for you guys if you need to. We only have 4 live games, but there are people who are running things that are using Dire Bear as their jumping off point. So feel free to ask, and if there's room, if there's not, those of you who don't have room, get together and form your own group. We're happy to be the host for you, and if you need a DM, you can talk to one of us. I am not going to lie to you. We are a paid GM service, but we'll make it equitable and affordable, and that way we can all get the best out of it, okay? In the meantime, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I had a blast. I'm glad that everybody likes Dalt. And we will see you all next Monday. Until then, take care of yourselves, be safe, and stay healthy. Bye, guys.